We actually might get to see the spicier sideboard card though from Aaron in this matchup, which is the Atraxa. Be interested to see if that one comes in.
Yeah, it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, that's Aaron on the mulligan. Oh no, maybe that is.
That's not what I would have guessed.
That is.
Yeah.
Maybe that is Feng.
Yeah.
You know, before when they sat down, he's like, I don't know how I'm gonna win. I was like, you just got to Jared Betcher him. I mean, you're on camera anyway.
Yeah. Maybe not the greatest of ideas, but
It'd be content.
I will say that yeah, that's true. Burn is definitely a deck that prefers card quantity, so like the mulligans actually are very impactful, regardless of the London mulligan. And it looks like,
gosh, another one!
yeah, that one looked like a one-lander to me, so I was expecting that was probably going to be another mulligan. Pretty unfortunate start for our Burn player here.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Feng, but it is fortunate for Aaron, who really does need that type of stuff to probably help him.
Right.
And the prediction in chat right now just got a lot easier because we were asking, can Aaron win a game this match?
Ah, wow, that's such a bold prediction. I think that the matchup is probably not so lopsided that we should be talking about whether he can win a game or not.
The bets are in. Clint is just running it back.
Yeah, Clint stole all my channel points yesterday, so.
Alright, it looks like the glare came back. So I'm not sure which Triome that is. But we do have a Goblin Guide to start.
Definitely one of the better starts for the Burn player here.
Yeah, reoccurring damage is a great way to overcome mulligans. Down to 15.
I do see that.
Alright, there's a Wren though.
Aaron has a creativity in hand as well, so the time pressure really is on Feng to close this game out.
There's a second land.
We have a copy of Eidolon. It'll be interesting to see if that gets deployed here. Not the greatest matchup for that card. But it is important to get value out of all of your cards when you're on a mulligan, so.
Goblin Guide. Attack for 4. There's a Fable on top.
Does elect to ignore this Wrenn and 6. That's
Down
probably a good call.
Down to 11. Going down to 19, activating that land. We'll probably see a burn spell. Rift Bolt on suspend.
We can see why this matchup's so difficult for the creativity deck. Even with all the advantages that Aaron had going into this, it's still looking a little rough at this point. Like, he had, he was on the play, had turn 2 Wrenn and 6, has a turn 4 creativity that we already know about, and the Burn player mulligan to 5, and this game still looks like it could easily be over
Aaron
next
looks
turn.
dead.
Yeah, it could easily be over next turn. Yeah. So.
Yeah, one of the things is it's really the creativity deck is really good at preserving its life total, but it doesn't get to do that until later in the game, right? With the tokens. So without bolts and stuff to start the early interactions. So if Aaron has some bolts and stuff, then maybe this game can be finagled. But right now it's Spell Pierce though is that interaction that can help.
Yeah, I would say in general, I think that the Goblin Guide draws are actually easier for the creativity deck to interact with than just the all burn draws.
Interesting, no payment of the Spell Pierce there for for Feng. Down to 6.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. He just has a couple of spells here that he's going to try to fire off into the no blue mana.
There's Eidolon.
Interesting.
But now we're going to be able to go down to 5. Oh, don't even need to do that.
Yeah. It's probably actually a big deal, too.
Feng with 2 cards in hand. It looks like a Searing Blaze. That was discarded. Can I go up to 9? That button's been having some trouble.
Yeah. Sending in a chump attack here, just trying to push through some damage. And it's not out of the question that the burn player just has, you know, Boros Charm plus any other 3 damage spell here, and then the game is just over.
Yeah. Going down to 7. Lava Spike.
Oh, I guess it is out of the question because
The
he only
one
had 1
card.
card in hand. Okay. So that is game 1 going to Aaron. So anybody that, you know, had that bet.
I don't know
hidden.
if he's gonna win anything though.
Oh, because it was versus 0. Nobody wanted to take the other side.
All right, so let's go over the sideboards really quickly. What do we have available? So on the side of Feng, there's, I mean, I don't think you want Smash. Is this a Rolling Vortex matchup?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
That might depend, though, on how much life gain he's expecting, because I'm looking at Aaron's sideboard right now, and he does have Turn the Earth, which can come in, and Atraxa, and like Archon gains them a little bit of life as well. So
I'm actually a huge fan of Turn the Earth in the sideboard of the creativity decks. A lot of that's one of the questions I get about my list all the time, and this and Living End are actually great reasons to play it. And I fully expect Turn to Earth to be coming in for Aaron.
Yeah, I would also expect it. It's kind of like they used to have like a gain life spell that just had flashback, right?
Right.
It's like basically the same card except it didn't have the graveyard thing.
You know, that being said, I think things like Searing Blaze you don't want in this matchup. It's possible that you want to keep the removal high enough, but I think that would be one that I would consider coming out.
I don't mind. I
actually
don't mind Searing Blaze because like it is a way to stop yourself from getting creativity to un-4 at least.
Sure, that's fair. Eidolon comes out first, you think?
While you're on the play, probably not. I'm just not sure. Like I honestly think that if I am in Feng's spot, I might just present the same 60.
Just not
Yeah.
sideboard. That's fair.
I think that honestly one of the things people tend to do, especially with burn, is just over sideboard. Like if you start bringing in like your Sanctifiers and your Path to Exiles and your Deflecting Palms and your Rolling Vortexes and your Wear Tear, you know, like you could easily make a case for any of those cards in this matchup, but then like you're citing in 11 cards, you're like, okay, well now my deck it doesn't function.
I think that personally I would side on Sanctifier instead of Eidolon. I don't know how many persistent things are going to be on the other side of the table, and so for that reason and the fact that it's going to be hard to kill, it's recurring damage, I would do it.
Yeah, it's totally fair that it's totally possible that Feng doesn't actually know that Aaron is only on 1 persist. That being said, there is a cost to actually playing a double white card, right? It's not. I wouldn't say it's so free as to say that it's just a strict upgrade to Eidolon. Like it doesn't just even without the Eidolon trigger. I think that it's harder to cast, and uh, that is a big enough cost for me to just want to play the Eidolon.
Sure. All right, players are presenting now, so let's head back down. Chat's talking about the block at the end. I was actually also thinking that you were supposed to block the guide as well.
Yeah, I'm sure that blocking the guide was better, but it also just didn't matter, right? If
Yeah.
Feng only had one card in hand, then it was over.
All right, suspended Riftbolt to start here. Pass the turn, living up Spell Pierce mana.
So again, I actually really like the starts that are not containing Swiss Spear or Goblin Guide to some extent, because I do think that
Bolt?
one of the ways the Archon can actually win is if you give them enough things to interact with.
Right.
And having creature heavy draws is the best way for them to interact with you. Eidolon, on the other hand, at least if they do interact with it, they're still taking 2, right?
Yeah. I mean, it depends, right? Like, one of the things that's nice is that this deck now has 1 mana removal in the form of 6 mana spells.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Leyline Binding does answer it somewhat cleanly.
All right, get a land here from Aaron. Pass back. We see Spell Pierce in hand. It might actually be a Flusterstorm.
Yeah, that's believable. I would guess that the Flusterstorms probably come in this matchup, and he does have a couple of those in the sideboard as well.
Alright, there's a Swift Spear. Trigger. There's a Lightning Bolt. Going down to 14. Taking 2 more, going down to 12.
Yeah, interesting that
Oh,
there
wait,
was...
no spell.
Yeah, interesting that there was nothing in response to that Lightning Bolt, because that would have been... Okay, there's just another Eidolon coming down. That makes sense. That would have been a good time to cast any kind of instant speed spell, because not only does it buff the Swift Spear before damage, but also it makes it to where anything like Spell Pierce or Flusterstorm will trigger the Eidolon.
Yeah, you're incentivizing him to play on the stack a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. All things considered, though, I think that Aaron is not too unhappy to be in the position that he's in right now.
Alright, we still have a blue card in hand for Aaron. It looks like a Fable and a Leyline Binding also.
Yeah, I see Leyline Binding and the... Yeah, that looks like the right read to me. It looks like Binding, Spell Pierce, Fable, and then 3 lands. Which is a pretty good set of cards to have here.
Fourth land is probably not what Feng wanted to see.
No, but he does have the Islet, so we can turn one of those lands into a draw.
Boros Charm. Going down to 8.
Not quite yet. He's given it some thought.
We're going to
Assume we start off with the Leyline Binding if we're planning on spell piercing this.
I agree. And he tapped the right mana, because I was a little worried there for a
I
second.
was also concerned, but I can't tell what the triomes are. So I was like, okay, well, apparently that's not the triome I think it is.
Going down to 14. Spell Pierce.
Yeah,
nice patience by Aaron there.
I like the way he sequenced that as well. I think that actually countering something is probably worth more than taxing two of Feng's mana.
There are no cards left in hand for Feng, if I'm not mistaken.
That appears to be the case. Aaron does need to find a way to get out of top deck range, though. Like, Fabled Mirror Breaker is great, but it isn't necessarily padding your life in the way that he probably needs to have at some point.
The thing is that you mostly need to have also enough life for fetch lands to be able to turn into dwarves, right? It's not just free to be having those dwarves, especially in this matchup.
Definitely true.
Are those 3 lands still? I can't tell what the...
Looks like Ren and 6.
Okay. Nobody can tell.
It looks like 2 lands and a Ren and 6 to me.
The foils, Aaron. You're killing us with the foils.
Yeah. It's probably why the glare came back.
It's probably not untrue. Alright, untap here for Feng. Really, really wants to find something other than a 5th land.
I mean,
yeah.
Borostrom would have been a really nice one, or I guess it still could be, because it also makes it to where if Aaron decides to fetch, he'll just die to it. I expect Aaron to not fall into that play, though. Like, he'll probably be pretty patient with his fetch land here.
Yeah, discarding 2 cards. Fetch land is my read. Oh, there's a creativity right there.
Okay. And he can actually attack with this Goblin Shaman in order to not have to fetch this land, which I think is probably correct.
Any concern? Oh, block there.
Block and no spell is very interesting. I'm guessing he just thinks he's going to have to sack it to an Archon anyway.
So Aaron's kind of forced into, like, if Aaron's read is Burn Spell, right? He's forced into doing it this turn no matter what.
I don't think that gets better for you waiting, regardless.
Right. So the question then becomes, okay, which is more likely? A Burn Spell that can target my Goblin here, which Searing Blaze has now been turned on, or a Boros Charm. I think the answer is, I guess it wouldn't be Searing Blaze, though, because then you would have just pumped the...
Yeah, but also, even if it was, there's still, equal numbers of Boros Charms, and I guess there's one less Boros Charm than Searing Blaze in the deck at this point, assuming that Feng has decided to keep in all 4 Searing Blazes, which I think is
so for me,
not a given.
I'm considering cracking the fetch land.
Yeah, I understand where your line is going. I think that there's no reason to do that. Aaron clearly giving it some thought, though, which is a good idea. Aaron is deciding to creativity for X=1 on the Goblin Shaman. Maybe still mulling it over a little.
I would creativity for 2.
Well, you can't creativity for 2. Otherwise, yeah, I would agree with that play, to be honest with you. But
No. I'm saying I would crack the fetch and creativity for 2.
you still can't, though. There's not 2 targets that you can target without cracking the clue. Like, if you target the treasure and the goblin, you need to use the treasure for mana.
You just go get a dwarf.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, you just get a dwarf, right? I don't know why I wasn't thinking about that. Yeah, maybe that is better. That probably actually does make more sense then, because that plays around lightning bolt as well.
Right.
Yeah, I think that is probably the better way to go.
I think the math says that is the play.
Mm-hmm. It's also not. I mean, you probably win with 1 Archon, but not guaranteed. Especially if the card in hand is Boros Charm, you know, then another Boros Charm could still win the game. Okay, he is going for creativity for 1.
Oh, and that is going to do it. The last card in hand for Feng was a land. Aaron is going to win this matchup 2-0 and be locked for top 8 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that seems very likely.
All right. Honestly, Aaron was really worried and got the mulligan to 5-game 1 that kind of pinched Feng on resources, and then game 2 just had enough. The interaction that and the way that Aaron played game 2 in the sequencing really allowed him to preserve his life total.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Aaron played it very well. I will say that obviously, you know, for Feng, like drawing 6 lands wasn't part of the strategy, but I do think that there are ways that Aaron could have played this game a lot worse and ended up losing to that draw.
Okay. All right. Well, we will be back with round number 4 as soon as we can.